Hello, everyone. This is Dave from Method Tattoo in beautiful Pemberton, BC, and this is a podcast we did with our lovely friend Hayley, just discussing time, mass illusion, money, and what's real and what's not. So, without any further ado,
I would like to introduce
Method Podcast.
So today we have good friend Hayley joining us here at Method to talk about weird and profound things.
My specialty.
Yeah. Can you introduce yourself a little bit, Hayley?
Okay, I'm Hayley. I don't know how to describe myself other than a free-spirited, nature-loving adventurer. Washed up back in Pemberton.
Washed up,
not
is that
too
what you
long
said?
ago. And here I am at this tattoo shop with some soul friends and very thought-provoking conversations that is good for our creativity.
Yeah, I think it's important for us all to spend more time discussing our reality. Because how can we, that's the problem with, what religion has done is just that it's become this other thing when it should just be, communal. Everybody gets together and let's talk about what we think and what we feel and this reality and try and, get a grasp on a direction.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We need each other to help each other ascend.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever direction we want to go. But yeah.
I definitely opened myself up to more jamming and music this past year, but my one good friend, you would have a lot to talk about with him, I think, but he built this geodome. It's this sustainable, he's super into geometry and all these things, and anyways, he built it on his mom's property, but it's sick, and he plays a didgeridoo.
Nice.
It's so sick. Yeah, just being around that, the energy, it's
that's cool.
It's super cool.
So what was the question that we were initially
So the question was, give me Dave's 2 cents, raise it to 10 cents on time.
On time. Well, I don't think that time doesn't exist. It's completely a construct of a mass construct. So we are all in a mass delusional state that time exists because technically nothing exists except for right now. And the only thing that ever has existed for you and for me and for anybody is right now. We've never experienced the past and we've never experienced the future because we experience the past right now as a memory. So it happens right now. And when you were in the past, it was right now. It was never back then. So it's completely something we've all created just to be able to cope with a complete paradox of a reality because we move forward we are a vibration going up and then decaying, but there's no time because you can't but that's also what helps be able to understand the past and the future and why they are relevant because they exist right now.
The past and the future
are here right now. Yeah, because it exists in you.
Us recalling those things is only a real thing because we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
In this present moment.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't experience anything but this present moment.
Yeah.
You can recall things from the past, but you can only recall them right now. Mm-hmm. So then you're
So what about aging and things that that is real?
Yeah, but it's not. It's such a strange thing because it's if we're a vibration this thing here, this singing bowl.
Those are sweet.
Yeah, because it's and that vibration goes and fluctuates and goes up and down. and then it just decays. And that's like our life. We're like that. And then we live out that frequency flowing until it ends. And then we do it again. And then we keep doing that. But have you ever looked at like when you take cornstarch in water and you put it in a speaker and you play different frequencies and it like looks like a creature like moving around and shit and like getting up and like
No.
it's just that we only exist because of the vibration and the magnetism, which we have to create an illusionary state, which is what we consider time, so that we can cope with our reality. Because we created clocks, we created
I know, I've thought about all
our
that
construct of time. Like we use the sun and all that stuff to decide what we consider time, so we all have a mass ideal.
Like in general terms, the rising and falling of the sun and the moon, like those are like day and night. It seems like a measurement of time, sort of like.
That's what we use as a measurement of time, but that only works if you're stationary on the earth. Because you can follow the sun, and then what time is it? Say if you were to be like in a plane flying somehow the same speed, and you can enter different time zones, right? Yeah. So if there's, it just depends on statically where you stand on the earth at that time as to how time is to you.
Like your duration of moving through space.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's why like once you start getting into like leaving the earth, why time gets all screwed up. Like why they say that like if you went to Mars and came back, the scientists.
Yeah, no, I said yeah.
Oh, I thought you said who.
I'm just like, yeah, that is crazy. Why like it gets so different. Yeah,
well like they say you can go to Mars or some shit and it's been like, you go there, you come back, it's like 50 years for you, but on Earth it's like 1,000 years, and you're like, what the hell? Like, and so how does that even, you know what I mean?
How does that
because it's completely.
It doesn't make sense.
So that means that time doesn't exist how we think it does, if it does at all.
That is a good point.
Right? Because the second you leave your static state of, here on Earth, or just where you are on Earth at that time, because time is different in like, the North Pole, where you have 6 months of sun and 6 months of darkness. So how do you measure? Is that 1 day? 6 months? So do you have 2 days a year? So if it really gets garbled up like that, right?
Light, then that is interesting.
Yeah. And
but
then in Pemberton here, if you're measuring it by the sun as well, like the sun's down at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the winter. So if the sun is still up somewhere else,
or our own like
sleeping
like, cycles, like we need to sleep every night. Like that's sort of like a concept of time. Like you have so much time in your own waking day. Like
I think it's more of like a rhythm rather than time. Like we're like a sound wave, and when the sound wave is up is when we're awake, and when the sound wave is down is when we're asleep. But I guess you could say it's spanning. But a wave has
a length, which is sort of like time.
Yeah, but it is. But then again, we're looking at it on like a linear state, and everything's in cycles. So it's like
maybe we're a circle.
Every way we try and look at it, there's an alternate paradox at how it could not be.
Right.
So then it's like with all these variables, how do we actually have a basis on that? Because I experience time differently than you. Right? Like we can both be sitting in the same room, and 5 minutes can feel like an hour to me, and 5 minutes can feel like 10 seconds to you.
Yeah.
So,
It's so true. Yeah.
It's a strange thing.
And then what is that we feel like, time is moving, quote, is moving so fast or so slow?
Yeah.
Like,
if it is time, shouldn't it just be constant?
Yeah. It's weird. It's based on energy.
Yeah, I think it's
How
based
you
on
feel
your
in a place.
yeah, and maybe just your own personal rhythm or frequency as to how you know, experience the reality. Because it's almost like, because if you're a part of it, you can't really pass through it because you are what is through it. So it's like time is based on like a kind of linear motion, or like a, well, I guess it's more just cycles, but it's a mind blower, that one, when you start going into it. It's like, it seems so simple. It's like, yeah, okay, you know, it's
But
12 o'clock is when the sun's right
it's
above us,
something
but
that we all live around, though.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a social construct. It's like
Yeah.
it's like money.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
It's a
real, but it's
form
real.
of keeping track of something.
Yeah. We put so much thought into it
Yeah.
that it becomes real.
Yeah.
But it's not tangible. It's not physical. We can't
Yeah.
touch it, you know. It's all, that's how, you know, we in a way are kind of using magic in a way,
Yeah.
right? Because we're kind of training ourselves to see something a certain way so that it makes sense to us even though it isn't that way.
Yeah. And it's funny how you can see with people, we associate like age with like, I guess, time and things like that, but like sometimes you can just see with older people, like they seem alive or not. Like they seem like they
Yeah.
are lit up and youthful, or they're old. And you can see that with people our age too.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it happens, like, if you believe in like that whole in reincarnation, then
yeah.
you understand that right away, because it's almost like, and so there's young people that seem old too. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
They've no sense of soul.
yeah, or their soul is just like beyond the childish
Or that.
stuff, or like,
Or
you
that.
know what I mean, like you get those odd, yeah, it's very interesting.
It is interesting. I was thinking about the concept of money recently because that's been a huge stress topic. And it's something I've been like working on shedding and blah blah blah. But I was just thinking about my recent experiences with like trading things and like living in a place for no rent right now, which I feel like I'm actually trading more of myself for in a way. And it's sort
Yeah.
of like, you know what? As much as I used to resent money, I feel like now I'm actually really valuing money because we live in this like sort of opportunity where we can choose to do something that is enjoyable to us, and then we get this good that we can then trade for to get something that we want, but we were actually doing something that we enjoyed to do that versus like a trade where we wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah, well, the thing is like, money is what you make of it,
Yeah.
right? So if you let it enslave you, it will enslave you. But you can also use it as a tool, because it's all it is a translation of saying, okay, I have this kind of value, and you have that kind of value. So you're gonna give me, you know, this much value for a service that I provide for you, but you're going to give it to me in money because maybe your service isn't something that I'm looking for. So if we use it as a tool to move forward, it's amazing. But like, it's super easy to become trapped by it too.
Yeah,
You know, it's a powerful tool, just like a cell phone. How people become addicted to it,
Right.
and it enslaves them instead of them using it as a tool.
What's wild, like sometimes, I mean, thinking about it now, like I can think of times when I've got caught up in it, of like the mindset of like, oh shit, like I need to just like make money, like I need a job, any job, because I need the money.
Yeah.
Like for what? Like just to be making the money? Like,
Yeah.
like
What does that even mean?
what is that exactly? And
Yeah.
it's so crazy how most people are just going through the motions of just you know, making the money to pay the bills. Like, what are the bills for? What is all this for?
Yeah.
It's all for your own enjoyment.
Yeah, exactly. To enrich your life.
Yeah.
And does being rich have anything to do with money? Because I think,
Yeah.
you know, we as a society talk about rich people being rich. And what is being rich to you? Like, what would you consider being rich? Does it have anything to do with money?
Not exactly. I
Like
think
an
it's
enriched life.
yeah.
Like if your life is enriched, does that sound like it would be
That
something
sounds
that?
completely different than
Yeah,
a rich life.
but it's the same. It's the same
yeah,
thing,
exactly. It's
right?
just what
So
we're attuned to knowing.
yeah,
Yeah.
for me, like being rich is like having awesome people around, being able to create and be who I am inside, and like that's rich. That's
Yeah.
like doesn't matter how much
Absolutely.
you can have, billions of dollars in your bank account, but you won't be rich if you're
Yeah.
all alone sitting there, with angry, not happy, like all
Yeah.
high on drugs and shit because you don't know how to be happy.
It's so
That's not
true.
rich, that's
Yeah.
the opposite of rich. That's you're poor.
It's almost like in these times, almost especially I should say, in these times where we have no money, it's when we are like most living.
Yeah.
Actually, like
Yeah.
I feel very enriched right now. I have $3.
Exactly. Because it forces you to
Let
instead of,
go or
and
something.
like not identify yourself. You have to add value. You have to see the value within yourself. You don't just
Yeah.
look at your bank account and be like, oh, that's how much I'm worth.
Oh my god, yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, no, I'm
it's like
worth
all these
all of this.
yeah, like all these I was thinking about this a lot recently. All these numbers that we're constantly judging ourselves on, like our bank account, all those numbers with that, like the weight scale, Instagram numbers, like likes,
Yeah.
followers, like there's numbers. We're constantly like judging ourselves on and like
Yeah.
scaling ourselves with all these things, and it's like that's not my worth. Like
No, that's the trap though. That's
Exactly.
the Luciferian way, the going external.
but it's a tool. It's all
Yeah.
tools that we can
Yeah.
use to help ourselves.
Yeah, it's like it's people that are too weak of soul to see that, instead of like, stepping on the rake and it smacking you in the face, you can pick it up and you can actually level your ground out a little bit with it. It's
That's a good one.
Like don't
yeah.
let the tool use you. You use the tool. Like,
a good friend of mine.
you don't hit yourself in the head with a hammer. You use
Yeah.
it to hammer nails to build a house.
Yeah, good friend of mine said a couple words that have stuck with me, but like with regards to money and stuff like that. But it was like you're the CEO of your own life, and you
Yeah.
make the money work for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things. Like I've been to all these crazy business courses, and even online, like everybody says the same thing. The successful people, it's you don't make money. You add value to things, and you get that value back, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is, whether it's money, trade, being helped out in life, whatever. When you add value to things and you do your best at something and add yourself to that, you get that energy back because it's a constant back and forth. And if you're doing it just about the energy, just about making the money, you're never going to do it. But if you're like, okay,
Right.
I want to accomplish this in my life, and I know it's going to take this amount of money, I'm going to add this much value to what I do to gain that value back, to then add more value to what I want to do.
Yeah,
And then
been
and then
thinking
all of a
about
sudden the
this.
universe is like, oh, this is, how it works. Okay, here, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doors start opening up.
Yeah.
Or you just start walking through them and stop, like, keeping your head down and like,
Yeah.
walking past. Right?
Yeah.
The
It's-
courage to go up and knock. Right?
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah, it's very trippy. It's such a strange thing. Like, and then also the whole money thing. Like, saving money is very smart, but if you don't spend your money, you're not going to make it either. It's
Exactly.
it's so weird. It's like
Yeah.
this,
It
you have
is.
to
There's
keep
that
it,
fine
you have to keep it rolling
line.
because nothing in the world is static. And
Yeah.
when you like try to save or hoard things, just everything starts to fall apart because you need to constantly be like ever changing and ever building and like,
Yeah. Yeah.
keeping that vibration up and like juggling it until it all completely falls apart,
Yeah.
spinning plates in the air until the wind comes.
Yeah, it's this constant balancing, juggling act. We can just keep balancing, juggling more.
Yeah.
The more we add in, the
Yeah.
more we can keep adding in.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you said it about something about if we leave something that we've started to build up, it'll just crumble.
Yeah. Falls
Yeah.
apart. Even if you just
Yeah.
don't pay attention to it, it falls
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing, just even like dogs or kids, what's like the worst thing to do to them?
Yeah, neglect.
Neglect,
Yeah.
right? And everything falls apart. Shit goes awry. The second, like my grandparents sold the farm, and it's like, it's heartbreaking to see that when you sell the farm and you drive past, somebody has left the doors in the shop open all winter and it's been neglected. There's weeds growing everywhere. Because the second you stop working and putting your energy and value into things, it loses it all, falls right apart. That, like, the second you stop playing the music, it becomes quiet. And then everything, the vibration stops. It all falls down. It goes to what we would consider death.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It is all energy.
Yeah, up and down, back and forth, the swinging pendulum.
It's crazy that the things that we've made up, I guess, like time and money and numbers and things like that, all those things that are the most unreal is like the biggest cause of all of our problems.
Yeah.
With everyone right now, like.
I think that's why it causes problems, is because it's not real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But at the same time, I try to think about like, a world right now, if none of it did exist, like if we were just working the land, living as natives lived, or whatever, like, I try to think about that, and I'm like, part of me really resonates with it, like, oh, it's so simple, it's pure, but part of me can't help but think, no, my mind is beyond that still. Like, I would be wanting to do more, I feel like, than just living. Like, I feel like we live in an interesting, exciting time where we have maybe an opportunity to blend these worlds or something. Like,
I think we definitely live at a crossroad time, but like there's many different ways. Like, we can only look at it based on what we see in front of us, right? But there's many ways that people have lived in the past. Like, there's this movement that I heard from South Africa called Ubuntu, right? It's a contributionist society. So you don't need money, but everything that you do good, that's yourself, that resonates with you, you make or do whatever that is, but do 3 times more than you normally would of it. So if you're making one thing for yourself, make 3 of them. So then you can contribute those other 2 of the 3 to your society, to people who can use that. And then everybody does the same, and there'll be enough for everybody. And nobody needs to use money to really pay stuff. And then everybody can work 1 day a week on like a community project. So if you want big things to get done, you want roads to get fixed, everybody in the community, based on health and whatever, can do certain jobs. So 1 day a week. We don't need to be working, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day to pay bills. Like, what? Like, we're using that
for all
money
the debt
to
from our
bind
consumerism to buy things.
Yeah, like cell phone bills, electricity bills, blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't need that. The only thing we need to figure out, which we can do, but it's suppressed, is free electricity. Once we have free electricity, everybody's free.
Well, car payments, like vehicles and all that.
Yeah, but like most of the cost of building your car is the electricity to create the parts
Like
of the car.
Gas.
Yeah, but if electricity is free, what do you need gas for?
Yeah, if all of our
We can-
vehicles are electric.
We can run cars on electricity. We can run cars on anything, right?
Yeah, if
So the thing
electricity
is,
was
like,
free, then
if the
yeah.
power that it costs the drilling rig to run to drill the oil, and all the electricity costs to keep all the infrastructure going, all the camps and everything, all that cost gets added up to what we pay at the pump, right? So if we lost that, it'd be cheap. And if we were smart enough to keep our own resources in our own friggin' country, it'd be like nothing. It'd be
Oh my God,
dirt cheap,
it's
right?
fucking frustrating.
Because we shouldn't, like, it's okay to pay for a service, but there's a limit, right? You know, you shouldn't be paying $100 a month for a cell phone. Speaking of cell phone, that's trippy.
And rent and like paying for land that, like, you know, people think they own something, but when they're gone, it's not theirs. Like, it's like the earth never actually gives it to us.
Thank you very much. That was good conversation.
Excellent.